So it looks like I was correct. Welcome back to Writer's Theory. I'm James Winterthorn, and if this is the first video of mine that you've watched, I've been writing a novel here on YouTube. I am currently in the editing phase of the novel, and more specifically, I'm in the reading and marking up phase of this process. I thought I'd be farther along. Well, I don't know if I thought I'd be farther along than I am now, but I'm currently at a page 109. Not that you needed to see that, but that's where I'm at for reading through the manuscript and finding either errors or things that I wanted to adjust. I do have a clip to share with you. Again, I'm not recording every session just because I don't know that makes for great video, but I did want to share some of what the process actually looks like as I'm reading and marking up the pages. I opened this video by saying that I was correct after all. So if you watched the last video in this series, I was surprised at how many errors I had found going through the manuscript. So I had written a lot of corrections on the first few pages. And way back when I was inputting the manuscript into ChatGPT and expecting an output, I was putting so much material in there that it wasn't reading all of it. It wasn't analyzing the entirety of the text. And so I had to stop that tactic and start putting in, instead of whole chapters, I had to start putting in a page at a time, at which point it was actually seemed to be reading the entire thing and then giving me an output, basically line by line. At the time, I found it a little obnoxious, but it seems like that was a good technique. And as I'm going through this now, I'm finding fewer and fewer issues. So it looks like it was correct, though that first portion did require more corrections. And now later in the manuscript, the changes that I'm making or that I'm noting are style choices, are attempts to have more brevity in the text, choices more than errors that I'm writing now, which is exactly where I want to be. So with that, let me get right into the session that I do have. This is back from chapter 3. This is where you can see that I make fewer notes on the manuscript because there are fewer errors. So let's get right to it, and I'll narrate my way through. So I also adjusted the position of my camera here. Before, the angle was just a little weird, so I apologize for the funky angle in the last video. Too bad I figured this out now, because this is probably the last editing video I'll have to share here. Maybe I'll do one more. If I find it worthwhile to share another video like this, I will. But you can see now the things. This is still a lot that's happening here, so I'm still finding things to adjust. But mostly, these are choices where either words are unnecessary or I'm rewording it to have a certain impact. But not a lot of grammatical errors where the AI didn't catch it or didn't inform me of it. So you can see it's just a lot cleaner, and I'm pleased with this example and how this worked out. I was getting a little impatient when I was going through that first process where maybe I thought it was a little too granular, but having this output makes that effort so much more valued. And now when I do a similar thing in the future, I will be a little more patient in that process. But it's great to be able to do more reading and then thinking about the context more than is this punctuated correctly? I can focus more on storyline and delivery versus just finding problems with it. Yeah, the first 50 pages I didn't add the page numbers, so you can see I'm writing the page numbers on there during these first 50 pages. The printed copies after that, I did include the page numbers so I can keep track of them that way. I don't have to write them down myself. So this is going wonderfully. I thought I would be, if you watched the last video, I think I gave myself 3 weeks to finish this portion of the project. I will likely wrap it up in the next couple of days and then get to making these corrections. That's the next step for me. So I've marked up the manuscript. Now I'm going to put it on a pedestal, and I wonder what are those things called? The little when you have the things that are upright, and you put your manuscript or your pages that you want to change. Anyway, I'm going to put it on one of those so I can see it as I compare it to the digital text and make those changes. I don't know how long that will take. I tend to just breeze through that because it's like, oh, here's a correction. And it's like a very simple thing for most of these changes. There are a couple of rewrites in here, namely in the first chapter. I don't know exactly how I'm going to tackle the first chapter, but I do not like it. And I'm going to have to put some thought into that. And then I found some sections where it's not consistent. The story is not consistent from one scene to another. And I have to build some continuity and do some rewriting. Those are minimal, but they are there. So my hope would be 1 to 2 weeks of correcting the edits, the things that I found while doing this read through. So of course I'll post those updates, and you can follow along with me during the next phase of this editing process. Once that's done, I'll share it with someone else who will go through this similar process. Full disclosure, that person is my wife. Thanks for reading all of my stuff. So if you're enjoying this series, you want to see the next step of this process and follow this all the way to publication, please like and subscribe and ring the bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. I have this series of this novel that I'm writing, and I also have other videos on just fiction writing in general. What are some good tactics or techniques rather, and other writing related content. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you in the next video.